Welcome back to Bike Matters. In this video I'm going to give you 10 of the best used 125cc motorcycles that you can buy for less than £2,000. Now stay tuned and be sure to let us know your favourite in the comment section down below. Now kicking off the list is an absolute icon of the 125cc category. It's the CBR 125R from Honda. I think almost every new rider fresh out of the training school with their CBT certificate has wanted one of these at some point. I know I was one of them. Brandishing the CBR title, it really looks the part. This is a great entrance not into just sports bikes but motorcycles in general. With its sprightly but user-friendly 124.7cc 4-stroke liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine kicking out 13.6 horsepower at 10,000 RPM and 10.6 Nm of torque at 8,250 RPM, a 6-speed gearbox and full fairings will see you getting over 70 miles per hour, closer to 80 downhill with a good gust of wind behind you. Benefiting from 70 plus miles per gallon and a 13 litre tank, it's also an economical option. We have a 276mm disc to the front with 2-piston caliper, a rear disc with single piston caliper, 31mm telescopic forks and a monoshock, 17-inch wheels and a seat height of 795mm. All in, the CBR 125R weighs 137 kilograms wet. Now, it looks great, it performs fantastically, and can be snapped up from anywhere between £1,200 for a high mileage, lesser loved model, and £2,000 for a lower mileage, well cared for machine. So the pros here, it's a gorgeous bike, it performs fantastically, and it's got that Honda reliability. As for cons, due to the nature of this bike, it may have had a hard life being ragged to and from the local supermarket car park, so be sure to check the fairings over, check bar ends, and be sure to ask about any aftermarket parts and how they came to be on the bike. Yamaha are known to produce some of the best 125s on the planet thanks to their large model range and incredibly rich long-standing history. This means that they're widely available on the used market. In at number 9 we have the YBR, which came as a replacement to the SR125 and it sold incredibly well in Europe. Powered by a 124cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine, the YBR puts out a passable 10 horsepower at 10,000 RPM and 10 Nm of torque at 8,000 RPM. Top speeds are moderate, struggling to get much more out of it than 60 miles per hour, but where the YBR really shines is in its economy. It sips fuel and many owners report figures between 100 and 120 mpg. This bike will easily see over 300 miles on a full 13 litre tank. Up front, it's got a 245mm disc with a single piston caliper, a drum brake on the rear, telescopic forks up front with 120mm of travel, twin shocks, 18-inch wheels front and back with a seat height of 780mm. The YBR has a dry weight of 106 kilograms, so with a full tank you're probably looking at about 120 kilos. This is probably one of the cheapest and most accessible bikes in the used market. Higher mileage models can be found from the £700 mark, and lower mileage, well cared for machines can be picked up from anywhere between £1,000 and £2,000. Combine this with that great fuel economy and this is a brilliant budget option. So for pros, it's got that great fuel economy, it's powered by a reliable Yamaha engine and it comes in at an extremely budget price. When it comes to cons, it's got mediocre performance, the style might not be for everyone, and ultimately it is a very basic machine. Let's see what's coming in at number 8. Here in 8th place we have an offering from the British brand Mutt. Designed and built in Birmingham, these bikes have a really serious classic authenticity to them, whilst keeping costs low thanks to the manufacturing sourced in China. The Mongrel is one of the many classic style bikes from Mutt's lineup, but with an even darker, dirtier look. Packing 125cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine that offers a decent 12 horses and 11 Nm of torque, this retro 5-speed claims to reach top speeds of up to 70 miles per hour, which is respectable. However, anyone thinking that this might be the bike for them probably isn't worried about being the fastest on the road. It's all about the look, the sound and the style. For fuel economy, a healthy 80 mpg will see you getting around 200 miles on a full 12 litre tank. It's got a single disc on the front, a rear disc with single piston caliper, telescopic forks and traditional twin shocks, 18-inch wheels front and back, and the seat measures up to 780mm. Dry, this bike weighs 125 kilograms. When it comes to used prices on the Mongrel, earlier models can be found for around £1,200 to £1,500, and the later newer machines can be found between £1,500 to £2,000. So for the pros on this one, it's got fantastic looks, it's just effortlessly cool, and it's got pretty decent fuel economy. As for the cons, there are some known electrical issues on board these bikes when they come out of the factory, so be sure to check with the seller about the condition of the bulbs in the battery as these may have been replaced. Let's see what's in at number 7. The funky RV125 from Suzuki is a cult classic amongst enduro and retro enthusiasts, and whilst it does retain some value because of this, some used models can be found under the 2K mark, meaning it had to take a place on our list at number 7. At the heart of the VANVAN, we have a 124cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine that cranks out 12 horsepower at 9,500 RPM and 9.5 Nm of torque at 8,600 RPM. It will reach top speeds of 60 miles per hour, by no means competitive, but this bike is full of fun factor. It packs a 7.5 litre fuel tank and averages 80 miles per gallon. Given this bike's natural environment, bumbling down beaches on holiday, being a utility vehicle on a farm, or even just a town run around, you can expect over 150 miles on a fuel tank. It's got a 220mm single disc up front with a 2-piston caliper, a simple drum brake to the rear, telescopic forks up front and a monoshock at the rear, 18-inch front wheel and 14-inch rear wheel, and the seat height measures in at 770mm. With the dry weight, this one weighs in at 120 kilograms. The used prices here can vary. The original RV125, the 72 to 82 models, can range anywhere from £1,000 to well over £2,000, but the older models in the latest generation can be found between £1,600 and about £2,000. So for pros, it's a cult classic, it's full of fun factor, and it's incredibly versatile. So for cons, the looks definitely won't be for everyone. It's got quite a clunky agricultural gearbox and engine. Let's see what we've got at 6th place. Onto the second Yamaha of this list, and in at number 6 we have the YS125. Following in the YBR's footsteps, this is a fantastic modern take on a traditional commuter. Powering the YS is a 124cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine, putting out 10.4 horsepower at 7,500 RPM and 10.8 Nm of torque at 6,000 RPM. It's got a solid 14-litre fuel tank and averaging 110 plus miles per gallon. You can easily see over 300 miles on a full tank. It's an ideal bit of kit for commuting. As far as top speed goes, you'll be just shy of 70 miles per hour. We see a 245mm disc up front with a single piston caliper and a drum brake on the back wheel, telescopic forks with 120mm of travel and a twin shock to the rear, 18-inch wheels front and back, and a seat height of 795mm. Road ready, it weighs 129 kilograms. Stylistically, the YS really does pay homage to its predecessor, the YBR, but with sharper edges and an undeniable modern twist. A fantastic option for those who like the reliability and function of the YBR but want up-to-date looks and tech. I found higher mileage bikes for around £1,400 to £1,600 and lower mileage, tidier models between £1,600 and £2,000. Not bad for a bike that will save you money in the long term with that mighty 110 plus miles per gallon. So for pros, it's got amazing fuel economy, modern looks, and it's got a reliable Yamaha engine. And as for the cons, it's not got the best power figures in the world, and some people may prefer the older look of the YBR. If you didn't already know, we here at BikeMatters are powered by Lexham Insurance, who are motorcycle and scooter insurance specialists here in the UK. Now, not only do they make this content possible, but if you guys click the link in the top right hand corner now, you can get up to £20 deducted from your premium. We get to keep making videos, you guys get a discount, everyone's happy. Next up, number 5. The second Honda on our list, and it won't be the last, we have the CBF 125 taking 5th place. Replacing the CG125, the CBF 125 was produced between 2008 and 2015 and was at one point Europe's best-selling motorcycle. The CBF 125 utilises a 124.7cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine that pumps out 10.5 horsepower at 7,750 RPM and 10.4 Nm of torque at 6,250 RPM. Seeing a top speed of around 65 miles per hour, this bike can tackle dual carriageways and faster roads, but isn't quite as competitive as some of the other bikes on this list. Where the CBF really shines is in its fuel economy. With a 13-litre fuel tank and an impressive 120 plus mpg, you can easily save over 300 miles on a full tank, with Honda in fact claiming over 370 miles. We've got a 240mm disc up front with a 2-piston caliper, a drum brake to the rear, 31mm telescopic forks, twin shock with 5-stage preload adjustability, 17-inch wheels front and back, and a seat height of 792mm. Dry, the CBF weighs 128 kilograms. Since these were massively popular during their time of production, used they are very common and can be easily picked up for anywhere between £1,000 and £2,000. So for pros, it is a good looking 125. It's got amazing fuel economy and it's widely available alongside parts. As for the cons, it's not got the best top speed and power figures, and the suspension isn't the best. Let's see what's in at number 4. The Herald Classic is taking our number 4 spot. Based in Cambridge, Herald have been designing low-capacity machines here in the UK for over 10 years. With production split between the UK and China, British design and Chinese manufacturing, these charming little bikes come relatively cheap and are a good entry point into the world of two wheels. Sporting a 124cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine putting out 10.7 horsepower and 8.5 Nm of torque, Herald claims a top speed of 70 miles per hour, but much like the Mutt, this is a bike focused on style, sound and looks. Averaging 80 miles per gallon with a 12-litre fuel tank, you'll see over 200 miles on a full tank. It's got a single disc on the front, drum brake to the rear, telescopic forks and classically styled twin shocks, 18-inch spoke wheels front and back at a seat height of 780mm. Unladen, the Herald weighs in at 107 kilograms. Herald has a plethora of real lookers in its lineup, and even the most avid haters of Chinese motorcycles will agree the Heralds have won over some of the other imports, but there is the undeniable markdown on used prices. The Classic can be found for as little as £1,000 for a bike with less than 10,000 miles. So for the pros, it's got charming looks, it's got a decent range, and it's British design. As for the cons, we don't know how long these Chinese parts will last here in the UK. It's not got the best power figures and a poor resale value. Into our top 3 now, and with another icon of the category. The R125 is a brilliant example of a 125cc sports bike. It really captures the characteristics of its supersport elders with clip-on bars, rear set foot pegs, and full grown-up looks and size. Probably the fastest bike on the list, the R125 is powered by a 124cc 4-stroke liquid-cooled single-cylinder motor that cranks out a fantastic 14.8 horsepower at 9,000 RPM and 12.2 Nm of torque at 8,000 RPM. Its 6-speed gearbox and full fairings means we can see a top speed of 70 mph plus, with many owners reporting 80 mph plus on the flat. When it comes to fuel economy, the R125 maintains a healthy 85 miles per gallon, so with its 13.8 litre fuel tank you can see over 250 miles on a fill up. Though I'm sure most riders won't see anything close to that, stretching the gears out over its 11,000 RPM red line. The R125 packs a 292mm single disc up front with 2-piston caliper, a 230mm rear disc with single piston caliper, telescopic forks with 130mm of travel, preload adjustable monoshock on the rear with 125mm of travel, 17-inch wheels on the front and back, and a seat height of 818mm. Road ready, the R125 weighs in at 138 kilograms, which is absolutely on the heavier side, but its high performance engine certainly takes the edge off. If you're looking to pick up a used R125, high mileage models can be found anywhere from £1,400 to £1,700, and lower mileage, tidier bikes can be found between the £1,800 and £2,000 mark. So for pros, it's got superior performance, stunning big bike looks, and super sport authenticity. Much like the CBR, these have often been pushed to their limits by enthusiastic but mechanically insensitive younger riders, so be sure to check things like sprockets, brake pads and fairings, and ask about any aftermarket parts and how they came to be on the bike. Let's see what we've got at number 2. I wanted to feature a cruiser on this list, and just shy of the number 1 spot we have the Suzuki Marauder. It's charming, it makes for an easy ride, and it is great value for money. Thumping away is the 124cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder heart of the GZ125, which puts out a respectable 12 horsepower at 9,800 RPM and 8.7 Nm of torque at 9,500 RPM. It's got a 6-speed gearbox too, meaning this laid-back rustless is a top speed of 65 miles per hour. It has a 14-litre fuel tank, and if ridden conservatively can achieve figures of up to 100 miles per gallon. 300 miles should be viable on a full tank here. We see a 275mm disc up front with a single piston caliper, simple drum brake on the rear, telescopic forks with 120mm of travel, classically styled twin shocks with 90mm of travel, 16-inch front wheel and 15-inch rear, and a seat height of 685mm, very accessible. Dry, the Marauder weighs in at 137 kilograms. These bikes are often well maintained, and for a model with less than 15,000 miles you can expect to pay anywhere from £1,300, and even higher mileage models can start from £800. So for the pros, it's got that great cruiser style, it's got pretty decent economy, and it really doesn't scream learner legal. For cons, there's lots of chrome parts which are known to rust, it's not got the best power figures, and this is on the heavier side of the market. Closing the list and taking our top spot is the third Honda here, and it is the CB125F. Built to run forever and sipping fuel all the way, this is a bestseller here in the UK. Picking up where the CBF125 left off, the CB125F is a worthy successor. With its 124cc 4-stroke air-cooled single-cylinder engine, this bike puts out 10.5 horsepower at 7,750 RPM and 10.4 Nm at 6,250 RPM. I had one of these, and in my personal experience I saw top speeds of 70 to 72 miles per hour downhill with a good gust of wind behind me too. Whilst the power figures aren't some of the highest on this list, this is another bike that returns incredible fuel economy. Honda claim a whopping 145 miles per gallon, but real-world riders, myself included, report a number much closer to 120 to 130 miles per gallon. Still, this combined with its 13-litre fuel tank and conservative riding style can get you over 350 miles on a full tank. Up front, it's got a 240mm single disc with 1-piston caliper, simple drum brake on the rear, telescopic forks, 5-stage preload adjustable twin shocks, 18-inch wheels front and back, and a seat height of 790mm. It's light too, coming in 117 kilograms wet. Prices start at around £1,100 for the older higher mileage machines and up to £2,000 for newer lower mileage bikes. So for pros, it's got immense fuel economy, modern looks and tech, and it's widely available on the used market. For the cons, it could have a little bit more grunt from that engine, and in my personal experience, the brakes could have just that little bit more bite. That brings my list to an end. What do you guys think? What bargain bikes have I missed? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.